Hi, and welcome to this session, workshop and drop-in session. My name is Jo Ayubi, and I'm Senior Consultant and Co-founder at Trek Surveys. And all our work is around feedback, 360-degree feedback, and really improving the workplace experience using feedback in lots of different ways. So what I'm going to cover today, and thank you for joining me, what I'm going to cover today is when and when not to use 360 in virtual and hybrid teams, how to prepare virtual and hybrid teams to get the best out of 360 feedback, and upskilling team leaders in making it 360 really effective across all of the members of their team. So let's talk a little bit about the definitions that we're going to use. So we've got employees that work remotely and work from home. We've got employees that are office-based. And now, of course, we've got the hybrid model, which actually means a mixture of remote and working from home, office, and even sometimes the same people are working in different ways at different times. And I guess that's the challenge that using 360 poses when everybody is not actually together all the time. So this is the old way of working, right? This is the way we used to do it. So everyone pretty much was in the office, face to face, working together, and seeing each other in different situations and different interactions. Now, of course, and of course, there was also one-to-one interactions, and discussions with managers and team leaders were easier because everyone is in the same place. Of course, this is much more like what our working situations are these days. We have one-to-ones online like this with video and audio. We have so we have one-to-one discussions and we have one-to-many discussions, and we're all familiar with these discussions now. This is kind of part of our work life. And there are also differences not only in where we are, but also when we work. So many people choose to work at different times because they can. So some people, their own preference is to work at different times of the day. So we have really quite a variety of working situations that we need to deal with and need to take into account. So the key thing, I suppose, to cover at this point is when 360 can be used in virtual and hybrid teams. And I guess my view and my experience has been that you must use it within teams who have worked together closely for at least 3 months. And that's because, as I said earlier, people are not together in the same way. Some people might be working together in the office from time to time. Often people are having online conversations. So unless they've been together and worked fairly closely together for quite a long time, as I say, minimum 3 months, I would probably not use 360 in that situation. I would also suggest the team has some shared goals. So rather than wide teams that have a lot of different goals, I would suggest that for 360 to be really effective, the team should be quite close in the goals that they have, and also have the same team leader and manager. Because again, the 360 gathers observations and interactions, and we need to have enough material in order to justify those observations that we give. Similarly, I would say not to use 360 in teams who are new, who haven't worked together for very long, for 3 months or less, who have different goals and who have different managers or leaders that they report to. And this is because there may not be enough material to make a really strong 360 feedback project for that team. Now, having said that, if we can get it right, 360 is actually a critical tool for remote or hybrid teams. Now, on the left of this screen, we have people in their little boxes, whether that's in the office, at home, or in a hybrid situation. And what we do really need to do is increase the connections between those people and the communication of how they are to work with. I mean, that's really what 360 is about. It's about measuring and observing the things that matter, how we work together and how we can do that better. So, especially in remote teams, it's very important for team leaders to understand how they're doing, how effectively they're managing, communicating, delegating, and supporting their teams. Are they giving equal attention to everyone in the team? That might be something their team members don't want to tell them face to face, but with 360, they have the opportunity to do that. And if a number of people are saying that, then the team leader has to take note. So you can see how for a team leader as well as a team, having an effective 360 is actually quite important. And for team members, feedback from their colleagues and their manager is really important as well. It really increases the information and the how we can improve, how we can do better as a team. So having said that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the challenges of 360 in remote or virtual or hybrid teams. So to summarize, people are in different locations. How do we gather that feedback? There's not the same opportunity to interact with and observe. So therefore, we need to ensure the quality and consistency of the feedback. And there are a number of ways we can do that. Team leader feedback skills. So how effective is the team leader in managing that feedback? And the outcomes for team leaders as well, which I will talk about shortly. So if we start with, I guess, the one with an easy solution, the first thing is gathering feedback. So how do we gather feedback from different locations? Clearly, online tools are the way to do it. They make it very easy to pick up feedback from different employees, whether they're at home or whether they're in the office or elsewhere. And having the technology to do that is important, and making the technology easy for people to use and not complicated. With online, tailorable feedback, everyone in the team can be included in that feedback process. And inclusion is really important, and having the right tool to share the feedback and do the feedback on is critical. Everyone needs to be included and asked in the team, especially in teams where people are in different places. We don't want to leave anyone out. So online, again, is, as I said, is ideal for this, and it provides unlimited access to the 360. And another point, if you have employees or teams in different countries with different languages, then making your 360 multi-language is another way of including people, making it feel more inclusive for them. Let me make this slightly easier. I don't know if you can see this, but here are 4 login screens on our Track 360 portal. As you can see, people can log in English, Arabic, Spanish, or simplified Chinese. And this is just one of a number of languages that's available. So again, thinking about how we can include everybody is really important. So next is the key thing about interacting with and observing colleagues. Now, it's definitely more challenging to observe behaviours when you're not in the same place all the time, in the same physical space. When we work in a hybrid way, we only see specific, maybe prepared behaviours. So we might see somebody once or twice a day on an online meeting or a one-to-one, rather than more spontaneously, which is how we do it when we're together. So in order for your 360 to be effective, we've got to make it about behaviours that are observable through online interactions. So bespoke 360 that asks about what you can see when you are interacting with your colleagues is very effective. So create a bespoke 360 that's based on the type of things we can see when we interact, like clear communication, sharing information, and for managers, delegation and coaching. So we just think about the things that we can actually comment on and measure and see when we are working with colleagues across a wide range of locations and in a hybrid way. I mean, this is a good principle, specific, observable and measurable for all 360s, but it's particularly important for hybrid teams. And if you can get those questions right, you can get some great, effective, practical thoughts from the team around how they can improve each other, improve communication, help each other to develop. So some examples, here are some examples from a 360 that we have put together. We work with a particular client with this. And you can see, I don't know if you can see the questions, but they're all very practical. So, for example, I don't know if I can make this bigger for you to see. Behaves with integrity, acts in a professional manner, treats people with respect. So they're all the things that we can actually see and comment on. Let me move my slides back again. Yeah, so taking a considered approach, agrees clear objectives. Absolutely, we can see which of our team members does that and how frequently they do it. So the scale is important, particularly for hybrid teams. So how frequently, for example, keeps the team informed of what's happening in the wider organisation. So bear in mind those actions that are observable as part of the 360. And for managers, how about motivating and managing the team? How frequently do they delegate? How frequently do you see them giving public recognition? Helping the team set goals. So all of these very practical, visible things are really important for a hybrid team. So if we move on then to the quality and consistency of the feedback that is being exchanged within a hybrid team. So the key to making sure that this is going to happen, that there is going to be quality and consistent feedback, is preparation. It's so important, especially for hybrid and remote working teams. And that means sharing the questionnaires for the teams before they're actually asked to give feedback, and use it as an opportunity to get the team together, discuss what the feedback's going to be about, what the purpose is, what the feedback, how the feedback will be reported, and provide some briefing for both the people receiving the feedback and for the people who are going to give feedback, training on how to do it. So across the team, even though they're not together, they have the same understanding of what's going on with the 360. And particularly with your hybrid teams, run a model or a trial 360 with them to see how it goes. And actually that exercise could in itself help to bring the team together. So use it as an opportunity to pull the team together. The next issue or question would be team leader feedback skills. So it's very important for an effective 360 for hybrid teams, for the team leader to offer the same support to each of their team members when their team members get their 360. And again, use it as an opportunity to sit down, either physically or online, with each team member and go through their feedback with them, every single one of your team. And it sounds like an effort, but it's really well worth it and will really make the 360 effective in your team. Train team leaders, provide team leaders with training on how to go through the feedback that each team member has received, how to interpret that and understand it. And of course, what they're going to do with that feedback. The team leader is critical, I'm sure you'll agree, in looking at the feedback, but also the development plan or development action points that the individual is going to do when they've had their feedback. And of course, the team leader or manager is then able to help them with those development points after the feedback. So we would also highly recommend that team leaders follow up on the 360 conversation at least every 3 months, so that the feedback stays relevant and the development points are followed up on. And that's going to really help the team to develop individually and as a team. And then finally, the challenge of team leader 360 outcomes. So if team leaders are getting feedback through the 360, it's really important for them to get support for that. So each team leader should also have an opportunity to have a debrief on their 360 so that they understand their strengths as a team leader and areas for improvement. And for them, particularly if you're a manager and you're managing a hybrid team, it's so important to understand how you're doing. And there may be areas that you didn't even know you weren't covering. So how frequently you're talking to people, whether people are feeling included, whether you're coaching people enough. Maybe you're coaching some people, but you're kind of forgetting about other people. Maybe you think they're doing too well and they don't need coaching. The feedback might tell you otherwise. So for a team leader or manager, the 360 is vital. And as HR or learning and development, we should be picking up any major issues that are coming through with managers of hybrid or virtual teams, either for individuals or as a group of managers and team leaders. That is a quick but hopefully useful answer to the question, does 360 feedback really work in virtual and hybrid teams? The answer is absolutely it works, but it needs to be carefully planned, it needs to be prepared for, and it's very helpful in teams that have enough interaction with each other and experience with each other to be able to give that quality feedback. If you have any questions about feedback design or implementation, or any of the areas that support that, like training, debriefing, or coaching, please feel free to contact me, direct message me through LinkedIn, and I'll be really happy to answer your questions and have a chat if you want to do that. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found this useful. Have a great day.